Greetings, welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to explore the retrograde of Saturn in Aries, which begins on July the 13th. It goes through to the 1st of September. Now, this year's 5-month retrograde is particularly unique because Saturn inverses then into the sign of Pisces. Through to the 28th of November, it will emerge back into Aries on the 14th of February next year and will be in the sign for the following 2¼ years thereafter. So I'm going to focus on this video from July the 13th through to the 1st of September. I'm going to share with you the event chart. So when Saturn goes retrograde, what are all the other planetary influences feeding in, and what house critically is Saturn in? That's going to give us a lot of insight. I'm also going to share with you the solar event chart so we can all collectively relate to this in terms of a zodiacal event. Then share with you the upcoming influences through to the 1st of September. There's some big ones, some opportunities, but also some challenges. Please stay with me to the end. I'll then go through each of the 12 zodiac signs, from Aries through to Pisces, to give you a flavour of what you can expect in terms of your ascendant, sun or the moon. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. Your views and interactions, as ever, are truly appreciated. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please help it thrive by doing so now, but also click or tap on the bell notification symbol. We have found that 50% of people who regularly watch my videos are not subscribers. If you'd like to work with me directly, please see the testimonials below. It's always very humbling what people share about those. Or you can check out my new website at patrickarundell.com. It's crammed full of goodies. You can sign up for your free daily horoscope, fired to your device each morning, download your free natal chart, which has got a majorly brilliant interpretation, or enjoy the 3-card tarot, which is 3. You can use that as many times as you like. Finally, if you'd like to take advantage of my unique offer, you can order your transits for next year, get the rest of this year free, 30% off your life roadmap report, Syrian insights to help you understand the patterns that have played out in your life so far, but how to work with them more intimately forwards. Please see below for that too. If you're a member on YouTube, thank you. If you're a patron, you're truly appreciated. So Saturn goes retrograde on July the 13th. It's an annual 5-month event, so Saturn actually spends 38% of the year in retrograde, which is a lot, isn't it? And it's a lot more than a lot of people vote for political parties that tend to have power. So Saturn can, of course, be very much about power. It's at 4:07 a.m. Universal that the retrograde begins. What is Saturn about? Well, Saturn is Old Father Time. In Greek mythology, it's Kronos, so very much about timing. We're coming to the end of an entire cycle, which will be completed on the 14th of February when Saturn leaves Pisces, because Saturn takes 29½ years to go round the heavens. But what makes it particularly powerful is that Pisces is also the final zodiac sign. So it's the sign of culmination, whereas Aries is the start of where we initiate. So we've got initiation competing with culmination throughout this particular Saturn retrograde. And that's why I want to focus on the Aries part 1, because I think it will make it more digestible and relatable. So Saturn is pushing us to develop resilience, to be determined, to understand that life isn't always an even road. It's where we need to show grit. It's where we need to dig in, be disciplined. It can be where we need to add a degree of application and perspiration to our inspiration. So Aries is very much a sign to do with inspiration, I feel. It's ruled by Mars, which is very passionate, but because it is the first zodiac sign, when Saturn returns to it, Saturn's not at its best in Aries, it's in its fall. Now, Vedic astrologers say falls can be more powerful than detriments. So what we've got here is the thrust and energy of of Aries being contained by the limitation of Saturn. Saturn can also be about authority, and it can also be about sort of more patriarchal energy. It's probably one of the things about Western tropical astrology is it was predicated when things were very much binary in terms of male and female. But we have seen, since Saturn moved into Aries on the 25th of May, we have seen a much more assertive approach, particularly to people who are more vulnerable, to health services, support services. It's been more abrasive, more limiting. If we put Saturn energies with Mars energies, we can create frustration, but we can also create a lot of anger, but anger that doesn't necessarily come out in an obvious way. The other part of the complication is that Neptune moved into Aries on the 30th of March, and that's a very complex influence there. Neptune can dissipate. Aries is trying to initiate. How do we go about that? So I feel physical energy has been really quite limited by the Saturn-Neptune conjunction ever since the 25th of May. And a lot of people are feeling it. It's like a collective limitation in the amount of vitality we have. But what we are being asked to do in a way is to be really sure that where we're investing our enthusiasm and our passion is well thought through, and we're applying ourselves in a very focused way, because if we spread ourselves too thinly, it will just come to nothing. So if you have tried some new things over the last couple of months and they haven't really gained traction, I think this is a lot to do with why. If, however, you're someone with great experience and you're wanting to demonstrate that talent, knowledge and deep backlog of understanding, you may have had an opportunity to assert yourself very skillfully if you've used a deft touch. So the deft touch comes from Neptune, the more structural approach comes from Saturn. So that's the big picture. What about the retrograde? Well, through to the 1st of September, when Saturn will obviously get back to 0 degrees and 0 minutes in Aries, we could rethink something that we started earlier this year. And part of that goes back to the eclipse that we had towards the end of March, because that was in Aries. So that eclipse was really urging us on to get in touch with our unique individuality. But we've had Chiron in Aries too, and that's going retrograde later this month, and that's been pushing us to actualize our individuality. So we may have wanted to try to do new things with the gust of energy from the solar eclipse, and if we've really focused, kept it narrow, been very clear about what our objectives are, and sensible but also sensitive, the chances are gains have been made. But if it has felt like it's been walking through glue, something that we've tried during that time may need some review. And right through to the end of November, and in fact, because obviously the retrograde will consider in a post-retrograde shadow, right through to the 14th of February, we could find ourselves tying up loose ends. Things that started years ago could come to a conclusion, and some of the things that we want to step into the future with, which is the Aries energy, will be moderated by the Pisces Saturn energy, which we've got coming through the last part of the year. And also, just to say, the solar eclipse, which occurs in Virgo on the 21st of September, is in a bruising opposition with Saturn. So even if we want to get more efficient, be more ordered, we want to really put our attention in a detailed way to situations, it's still got a bit of a juggle. So I think physical energy and emotional energy are really going to be a little bit lower for us all collectively right through to the start of next year, when a true new beginning occurs. However, there is a stunning alliance on this particular retrograde which still can be very supportive. I'm sharing on the screen now the solar event chart. So there's the position of Saturn at 156. But what we're going to have is Saturn right through this retrograde is still going to be in touch with Pluto, the planet of transformation, and Uranus, the planet of innovation, through the whole process through to the 1st of September. So if there is something that isn't moving at the speed of light and you are feeling very frustrated about it, and the Saturn retrograde seems to suggest it will slow down even more, it doesn't mean to say you can't use the golden triangle energy in a very creative and an imaginative way. Because planets are retrograde, it doesn't mean to say that everything is going to go awry. It just means that we need to be even more aware of where our limitations are, be realistic about what our challenges may be, work on the things that we're good at, where we have knowledge and we have a confidence and we have a proficiency. And if we work on those things in an imaginative way, also able to connect to other people, then progress can be made, because the sign of Aries can in some ways be a bit of an individual energy. So collaboration and cooperation are going to be very important. So there's Saturn, Neptune, and we've got that position of Uranus, the position of Pluto in the trine. And we're really being encouraged to remember that even if we do feel some personal challenges in terms of our vitality or our resources, or one idea needs modification, or we get feedback from someone who does have greater awareness than us, not to take it personally, to go with the flow. On the screen now is the event chart from a natal viewpoint. Really important, because this is based on the event from a prime meridian viewpoint, universal time and Greenwich. So I feel we can all collectively relate to this. And you can see that Saturn's up there in the 10th house. So we've seen certain figures, public figures, governmental business leader figures, have been very dominant in the first half of this year. I think you're going to see, particularly when Saturn goes back into Pisces, that some of those people who've been using very fast approaches to policy, being very combative, abrasive in their approach, you're going to find they will have to adapt. They will have to rewind and try different approaches, and that will become much more obvious, whether it's about trade, finances, whether it's about international affairs, whether it is about those controversial issues about social care. We are going to see some backpedaling and adaptation right through the autumn months in the north and the spring in the south. But the key with this event chart is the ascendant, because weirdly Jupiter is on it. So it's a Jupiterian ascendant. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, so it's about the feeling dimension. We're being reminded of the importance of that. Now, strangely, Saturn, ever since he arrived in the sign of Cancer, has been afflicted by Saturn in Aries, but exactly on the 15th of June for the fourth time in a year. So some of the things that we wanted to achieve really over the last year have not gone to plan because of that square. So what this event chart is telling me is that we're going to see a lot of those public figures, people in positions of leadership, are going to be scrutinized and held to account in quite a way in the coming months. So who will this event impact most of all? Well, definitely anyone who's got early cardinal influences. So that's Aries itself, it's Cancer, Libra and Capricorn. So if you've got degrees from 0 to about 3, you're going to feel this keenly. If you're a late mutable, you're also going to feel it, because Saturn will rewind back to 25 degrees Pisces. So really anyone from 23 degrees of the mutable signs of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces will also feel this retrograde. So the upcoming transits that are going to be particularly influential, we've got the Sun in a very strong link with Saturn towards the end of July, but it is also a time when Venus clashes with Saturn. So the end of July, the early part of August could see some tensions, particularly by the 9th of August, as Mars, now in the sign of Libra, goes face to face with Saturn. That could be a very edgy period, and a battle of wills, a real arm wrestle, if two people want slightly different things. But you know, if there is a relationship that's worth preserving and working towards, you're going to celebrate it towards the end of August as Venus forges an enabling link to Saturn. And that can be a time to celebrate those ties. They don't have to be romantic. Those people that we know are reliable, are steadfast, those solid citizens in our world. So those are the aspects. I'm now going to go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what you can expect through to the 1st of September, starting with Aries. So Aries, the theme that has played out this year so far has been very much to do with winding up loose ends, to do with the past, as Saturn and Neptune were in your 12th house, and you may have felt that you'd done that and taken a step into your future. What's going to happen with this retrograde through to the 1st of September is that you may realise that some things are still treading water. You're not quite established in that future plan in the way that you would like, and what that can do is create frustration. What's going to be important through this retrograde for you, therefore, is to understand that if you're okay with past events, if you've come to terms with separations, disappointments, if you're not being too harsh on yourself, if you're understanding of your own vulnerabilities, even when Saturn makes its way back into Pisces, you've got nothing to prove, but there may just still be some residual things that do need one final look. So in this phase, if there is something that you've been trying to start in quite a dazzling and dynamic way, particularly with the presence of that solar eclipse in your sign, and it's not going at the speed of light, the thing you've got to deal with is that natural side of your nature, frustration. You can become irritated and impatient if things aren't going as quickly as you would like. So the key here, Aries, through this particular part of this retrograde is to stay strategic. Pluto and Uranus are the clue. It's the people that you're linking with, it's the alliances that you're forging, the people and alliances that you forge that are enlightening, that give you an opportunity to express yourself, that are people that you feel comfortable with and you see a long-term future with. Spend time on those ties. If there are some things you've tried that have not quite worked out or don't work out by the 1st of September, don't beat yourself up. It's a process, and by the 14th of February next year, you'll be much clearer of where you are in the grand scheme of how Saturn influences this all. It's such an important player in the overall zodiac. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Taurus, there may be something ever since the solar eclipse in March, and perhaps also once Neptune arrived in Aries. Neptune, of course, is now gone retrograde, now joined by Saturn. There may be something rather delicate that you're avoiding looking at quite as fulsomely as you might. Through to the 1st of September, if you can talk to someone, a trusted confidant, a wise friend, someone who's very experienced, maybe even a life coach, a counsellor, to try to understand something that you're finding very difficult to shift or to understand, see that as a huge opportunity. Don't see any inhibitions that you're feeling at the moment as a weakness. They're not a weakness, they're part of the human condition. We all have periods when life can be very tough. We all have periods when life can be very dynamic. You've got a period at the moment when your finances may be improving, which is wonderful. But this particular window through to the 1st of September may just tease into the open some painful issues or strands that do require looking at in a front-on way. And sometimes when we try to push things aside, we're reluctant to look at things that maybe are not quick fixes, that take some patience, that maybe we have to come to terms with some losses or some past painful experiences That's not the modern way. The modern way is very much to live in the moment. It's all about the image that we're presenting through social media, but it's not the reality. So there may be some tender issues at the moment that you need to embrace, some tender issues about you, or some things that you're unsure about. Or there could be someone from your past that still calls out to you. It could be a situation in your history. It may be long distant, but it may still need processing and releasing. And once you release it, you could find yourself, even with Saturn in the retrograde through Pisces, feeling actually a lot freer and a lot more liberated than you might imagine. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart. The interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Gemini, Saturn slams on the brakes in the part of your situation to do with your collaborations, your network, possibly associates, maybe friendships, maybe even to do with your long-term plan. Just at a time when Uranus is absolutely electrifying, particularly if you're born early in Gemini, your natural talent and flair. So it's possible that something that you want to go for might not go quite at the speed you want between now and the 1st of September. But it's also possible that despite your brilliant ideas, it's how they're structured, the people that you're needing to work with. If the structure is not quite right or the people aren't quite as reliable as you need, the idea might not actually gain traction in quite the way you hope. So there may be a need to do some amendments, some thinking, perhaps even take some soundings, do some more research, connect to different people, and all of that will inform you in a much better way. By the time that Saturn returns to join up with Neptune on the 14th of February next year, they come into an alliance on the 20th of February, I feel that will be when your highest hopes that you really have set your heart on bringing into existence over the last year or so, that's when you're really going to start to see the evidence of the breakthrough. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart. The interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Cancer, this retrograde is going to see you thinking very carefully about your role in life, but also your responsibilities, where you can demonstrate your experience and knowledge, where you can perhaps work towards your goals and ambitions. And if you're someone who's very invested in that part of your situation, things may slow down a little bit, but it's an opportunity for you to double down and show that tenacity, which is very much part of your nature, to still reach the golden prize. But it will perhaps take a little bit more effort and determination than you may have imagined. The other scenario that's possible is that something you thought you wanted that seemed very valuable to you and would really help you to raise your profile, give you a greater sense of identity in terms of your professional hopes, it could actually lose its sparkle and appeal. By the 1st of September, you may be thinking, do I really want to do this? And particularly at the moment, because Uranus is in a part of your situation pretty close to the position of Venus, which is about a deep reflection, but a deep reflection with the potential to create liberty from something you don't feel really part of. And because Pluto is linking to Uranus, the radical energies of Uranus could push you to release something that may have some financial benefit to you. So it just depends on your overall natal chart. You could have, for example, a lot of Gemini. You may have some Leo. You may not be so dominated by the energies of Cancer, but if you are, I feel some very, very important discussions and thinking's going to go on through to the 1st of September. For some Cancers, it may see you reset your determination to go for it. For others, it may be a time when you decide you want to change course, particularly if you're a natural bohemian. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. Leo, if you're thinking of learning some new skills or traveling, you're negotiating a contract, maybe something to do with an overseas investment, all of those areas come under the astral microscope in a very powerful way through to the 1st of September. It doesn't mean to say they're going to go wrong. It just means that there's the potential for more resistance, so that can slow things. You probably need to focus narrowly, but because Pluto and Uranus are feeding into this event, there is still the potential to connect to people who really expand your sense of what the world's about. So if you encounter a new philosophy, someone who's a light worker, a life coach, or even a counsellor, the information and knowledge they give you over this period of time, perhaps you're going to play that role for other people, will be very, very powerful and deepen your awareness of what's really important in terms of your higher purpose on this planet. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Virgo, positively, what you could experience through to the 1st of September is you could encounter someone who's got a lot of knowledge, but particularly around financial planning. If you are considering writing a will, providing a legacy for someone, investing in property, perhaps even speculating in terms of equities, perhaps even with crypto, the experience and wisdom of that person could be absolutely invaluable. But the 8th house can also be where we're most invested emotionally, spiritually, or intimately. If there is an involvement that you've got where there feels some kind of blockage or inhibition is showing up, it could get stronger between now and the 1st of September. But what will happen when Saturn makes its way back into Pisces from then through to the 14th of February next year is you will have a wonderful opportunity to try to get a better clarity and perhaps also to set some boundaries. But if something has really served its purpose in your life, and it could be a job, it could be a property you've lived in, it may be to do with some money that you've put into a particular financial product. If you feel that something has served its purpose, by the early part of September, you may decide to actually release that connection to that situation. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. Libra, it's not the best of times to just automatically assume that relationships that have worked well in the past will continue to work well. It doesn't mean they won't. The key is expect. So all relationships, like all of life, need working at. Now, if you're someone who's very applied in your connections to people, very considerate, good listener, attuned to what people need, but also working on setting your boundaries and telling them what you require, I think that you can benefit from this Saturn retrograde very well, because that process, which is really rolled out from that very tough transit of Pluto through the 4th house and Neptune and more recently Saturn in the 6th, have hardly been a bundle of laughs, but I feel Saturn in the 7th house could tease out a weak relationship. It may see one come to a close that's not working so well, or you could see a different energy developing between you and someone. It could get more serious, more committed, or cooler. It just depends. But the main thing to do at the moment with all sorts of relationships is continue to work at them, because that is the virtue that Saturn appreciates most. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Scorpio, Saturn joins up with Neptune in the retrograde in house 6. House 6 is about those details. It's also about life structure, routines, can be about our physical well-being, how much sleep, exercise we take, are we working quite as virtuously as we could on our nutrition and diet, are we cooking enough food from scratch. All of those things are going to be themes right through to the 1st of September. Now, Saturn has a reputation of being the hard taskmaster. So it is true that if you're playing fast and loose with burning the candle at both ends and not prioritising self-care, not giving yourself enough time to get organised at home, always playing catch up, if you are feeling a little bit sort of stressed or overloaded, definitely a great time to prioritise what's truly important. If you do work somewhere where it tends to be a bit picky and critical, that actually could become quite hard to deal with from now through to the 1st of September. You might find yourself starting to crave being with people that can be a bit more intuitive, that you can just sort of emotionally connect to. So if there are a lot of demands and commitments and expectations of you at the moment, the chances are they could increase, but it's also a chance to work with the virtue of Saturn. It always requires work virtuously to try to squeeze out some more improvements. And as I've said before, if we change 10 things by 2.5%, we're talking about a 25% overall improvement. So whether it is what time you go to sleep, how much exercise you get, bringing in a few more natural ingredients and so forth, that can actually be something that's very positive that you can gain from this particular Saturn retrograde in Aries. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Sagittarius, I think it's true to say that with the long journey of Neptune through your 4th house since 2012, and more recently over the last couple of years of Saturn in Pisces, you've probably become a lot more conscious of the emotional dimension of relationships. The 5th house, where Saturn and Neptune are crested together, Neptune already in its retrograde, is where we can have joy. But we don't tend to think that Saturn has much to do with joy. But even if we got talents, whether it's artistry, photography, whether it's a maker or a creator, whether we're great fun, whether we're very sociable, we still have to put a degree of effort into it. And you may find that just digging down a little bit deeper through to the 1st of September may be necessary. But if there is someone that you're enjoying being with in a romantic context, and you do start to encounter a few roadblocks, and it's not quite just evolving quite as you would like, particularly with Uranus on that 7th house cusp. The key with Pluto feeding into Uranus, but Saturn and Neptune as well, is to make sure keep the dialogue going. And just because something slows, there's a bit of irritation, frustration, resistance, don't necessarily think that it's not going to be workable for the long term. But I also feel that if you are single and you do encounter someone through this retrograde, what you've learned through Saturn and Neptune in the fourth house is what your minimum requirement is in terms of an emotional connection. In the past, your flamboyance and your desire to enjoy the big picture and see you very active and on the move, it really was an exciting life. But I feel that, Saturn has been like a very powerful ball knocking over the skittles in recent years as it went through your sign, went through Capricorn, obviously with COVID, then through Aquarius, more recently through Pisces. So the last few years has not really been so easy. So if there is something that you want to manifest, that you've got a talent around, keep on working. If there's someone you really like, you're going to have to show perhaps a little bit of perseverance. But if there's something that isn't clearly working, it is also important to know when to pull out. And that could include anything to do with speculation, because the fifth house, Saturn can be about business, Neptune imagination, the fifth house can be about risk. So if you're not sure about something, even if someone tries to excite you about a particular idea, I would err on the side of caution, which of course is very much Saturn's theme. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Capricorn, Saturn being your ruler, you have a natural rapport for what he demands, but also an intrinsic understanding of his benefits. But in the fourth house, where he's been since the 25th of May, Neptune from the end of March, and also on the back of the solar eclipse in the fourth house towards the end of March too, there's been a shift in your situation, and that shift has been amplified more by Uranus moving out of a playful, free-spirited part of your chart into an area that's very much to do with routines. Well, Uranus doesn't do routines. Uranus does brilliant ideas and spontaneity. So what could happen from now through to the very start of September is if there's something in your home or emotional or family life that you're not feeling quite as ease with, that could be where you'll need to shine your energies and really gain some greater understanding. For example, there could be someone in your family who needs more support. Maybe it's someone younger who needs some firmer guidelines and boundaries. It could be that you want to make some structural changes to where you live. Perhaps where you live is too small, too big, in the wrong location. And all of this can feed into what you need to decide to do. And Saturn obviously can show up where resistance is. So if there isn't a good connection emotionally, for example, at the moment with someone that's in your everyday world, this may be something that you both need to address. Sweeping it under the proverbial carpet will just actually be not very helpful at all. I think generally speaking, round to the 14th of February next year, there may be the need to actually articulate some concerns, but also have some important conversations, even if they're quite tender and delicate to go through. But at the moment, if you're not feeling very satisfied where you live, don't feel very heard or seen, it could get you down a little bit. So do be proactive in working with your ruler, and that means reading or watching videos, gaining more information about what you truly need in terms of your inner world, but also getting in touch with your soul purpose in as best a way as you can. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Aquarius, Saturn is your traditional ruler, and he gives you a steadfast ability to keep going even when things are very tough. But your modern ruler, Uranus, is what gives you that more visionary much more progressive side of your nature. And the wonderful thing about this particular retrograde is they're actually going to be cooperating with one another in a magnificent way throughout the whole period. Also, Pluto, the planet of transformation, arcs towards Uranus in a sensational way and a very positive way to Saturn and Neptune. So of all the zodiac signs, I feel you can survive this particular Saturn retrograde the best, especially because you know that not everybody has always been receptive already for your ideas. So if you do need to pitch some of them at the moment, you've got the experience of knowing that you need to make sure that the pitch is relatable to the person you're reaching towards. The bigger picture of what you want to achieve may need to just be in some ways offset. So thoughtfulness around your communications, not rushing answers to text messages and emails, giving yourself a little bit of space to breathe. The third house, where Saturn is also about the nervous system. So if you have been experiencing some headaches, and particularly with Uranus in the fourth house over the last 7 years before its recent move to Gemini, it wouldn't be a surprise. I've had them. So important to get lots of sleep, to recharge, to get away from electronic devices, to have periods of cocooning away from the vast array of information that seeks our attention, that Aquarius people can find somewhat irresistible. And take your time. You may have some beliefs or ideas that may get challenged during this period. It may be that some people are going to actually let you know about some parts of your nature that they don't find so easy. Try to take it on the chin. This is a time of great benefit despite the retrograde, but if there is a massive idea you've got, keep being patient, keep being persistent, and keep chipping away, because a breakthrough will eventually come. It might take until the early part of next year, but it can come, and it can come before then. But the key is understanding how Saturn asks us to take things one step at a time, to be really methodical. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart. The interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com. So Pisces, what you can find yourself doing through to the 1st of September is being particularly thrifty, very imaginative about upcycling or recycling. If you do in any ways declutter, you could bring some extra money in. You may find yourself just wanting to approach things with a canny eye. You may also find some external income that has been there in the past might not be quite so freely coming to you. It won't necessarily dry up altogether, but certainly using the resources you've got in as pragmatic way as possible is going to be a smart thing to do. Now, if you do enjoy making or creating or planting your own food, growing your own food, making your own food, this is a brilliant window of opportunity to grapple with those things, because needing a bit more personal space in your emotional life goes hand in hand with having a firm and stable foundation. So I think there's been lots of demands for you over the last 7 years. Huge amounts of demands, to be honest, and also because Saturn and Neptune have been in your own sign, your own physicality may have taken a little bit of a pounding over the last couple of years, in particular when Saturn returns to your first house through the last part of this year and through to the middle of February, again depending exactly on where you have planets in the sign of Pisces. If you have them at the end of Pisces, you will feel this more keenly. I just feel that, just see this as part of a big pattern. And the big pattern from the middle of February next year, and particularly the 20th, when Saturn aligns exactly with your modern ruler, is then you could get some payback for balancing your innate imagination and flair and creativity with your industry. But at the moment, if you just feel like being a bit thriftier, taking a bit more of an old-fashioned approach to resources in general. Good for you. Please visit my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart. It's not any natal chart, the interpretation is stunning. You can enjoy your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also use my free 3-card tarot. It's absolutely fab. Please join me at patrickarundell.com.